Yeah. Last session we learned about some background effects, how to handle background effects, and few examples. I told you that exercises we will post. Right? Those exercises you have to do after learning these effects. Some more effects are there. Those we will see. After understanding those effects, then we can start designing some real world screens exercise. So we learned about how to define backgrounds in the last session. Background, I already showed you how to define multiple backgrounds also. Next, in CSS, we need to understand about CSS text effects. How we can control the CSS text effects. Text effects is nothing but formatting text. Text effects includes formatting of text. Already we know so many things in that. What are the attributes we are having? So we are having attributes like color. We have font family. We have text shadow. We have font style, font weight, text transform, font variant, and text indent, line spacing, word spacing, white space, text overflow, actually we also have option like text direction, but these days we don't use that text directions. So, but I will show you that text direction also, how to handle them. Color, font family, text shadow, font styles, font weight, text transform, font variant, text indent, line spacing, word spacing, white space, text overflow, text direction. These are all text related effects. Already some we know. Generally, we already worked with them. Color is text color, right? Specifies color for text. Specifies color for text. Already we know that. And font family. Font family specifies the font name. Specifies the font name. And in this, we know some technical points also. In interviews, the question asked related to this. And we have answer for that. Already we learned, if you remembered, while discussing HTML font itself, I told you the frequently asked question, what are the web safe fonts? What are the web safe fonts? We learned about it. Web safe fonts means the fonts which will work across every computer, every device. Because some fonts may be available on your computer. But if those fonts are not available on another person who is watching your website, then the display will not be in the same way. So we have to use the standard fonts. If any font you are using and it is not available on their machine, then which font it will use? So we have the fonts like serif, sans serif, and monospace. Monospace. These are considered as web safe fonts. That means you apply some special font and that font is not available on other people's machine, then it will automatically change into serif, sans serif, or monospace, because these fonts are available on every device. Every operating system provides some standard fonts. These are called as web safe fonts. Web safe fonts. So we have these options: color and font family. Text shadow, already I told you, this is also sets shadow for text. It sets shadow for text. And that same like box shadow, 3 units will be there: horizontal, vertical, blur. Horizontal how much, vertical how much, blur, and color. Right, same like box shadow we can use. I will show you in design. Font style we already know. Sets font style is what? Font style is italic. It sets italic. Font weight, it sets bold. Bold. Bold is font weight. Text transform. Text transform is used for changing the capitalization. Capitalization means uppercase, lowercase. Capitalization we can change by using text transform. Actually, font variant also changing the capitalization. But what is difference is without changing the size. Without changing the size, it changes capitalization. Actually, text transform changes the size. Text transform will change the size and it will transform. But font variant will change without changing the size. Those two differences we will see now. Let's see up to this first, what are these options available. So here we are defining some effects. Suppose we have a heading. So welcome to CSS, something like this. And we want to apply some effects for this. Already color, all these options we know. That's general. Okay, so already some effects we can apply here. For heading, no need to explain this. You already know color, font family. Text shadow also you learned. So for example, just roughly I will show. Suppose color is red. So color is some yellow. And text shadow. Text shadow, same like box shadow. Horizontal how much? Vertically how much? blur how much, and color. Like this we can define. This will apply the shadow for the text. It will apply the shadow for the text. This is text shadow. Already we know, suppose we want to change horizontal vertical, then 2 pixel 2 pixel, and horizontal vertical placement will be changing for that. Same like box shadow, how you can display text shadow. Text shadow, that is general option. That is how we can display the contents, right? Next important, after understanding the text shadow, right? Same font style, font weight. Already font style, font weights we know. Suppose if it is a paragraph, because heading already have bold like styles, huh? So if it is already a paragraph, now this is normal. And if you want italic, we have to define font style. Font style. Font style, we can put it to italic. That means the font style will be set to italic. If you want bold, we have to say font weight. Font weight is what? Bold. It will get font weight to bold. Another option is there, text transform. Text transform. Font size already we know. Na? One more option is there. Font size, already we know how to define the font size. Font size in pixels, right? We can apply that font size. Let's see text transform and variant, how we can apply. Suppose I am giving text transform as uppercase, then you can see it is converted into uppercase. All letters are converted into uppercase. For example, see, suppose we have another div here. In the div, same welcome to CSS only. Same is there. I am defining for that div, I am applying font variant. Font variant also, so we can apply as all caps, means small caps we can apply. Small caps means same like uppercase only, but difference is it will not change the size. That means here every character size changed, but here it will keep the character size as it is, then it will convert into capitals. So that means both are similar, changes the capitalization, but a text transform will change the size. That means it will affect size. It will affect size. And font variant, without changing the size. Without changing the size, it will convert into capitals. For that, we can use font variant. Font variant. So that is the difference, text transform and font variant. We also have text indent, line spacing, word spacing. Those words itself tell what they are. No need to specially discuss about that. That means the words itself tell what they are. Suppose I have a paragraph. Let's keep some paragraph here. Actually, text indent is nothing but I am copying the paragraph. So here I am placing that paragraph there. Okay. Now generally, this is the ordinary paragraph. In this, we can use an option for paragraph. We can say text indent. Text indent is nothing but for paragraph, first line will be set with spacing. Paragraph first line spacing. Suppose I said 100 pixel. That means it will set only first line spacing for the paragraph. Generally, left indent, right indent you can give by using padding. Suppose first line indent you want from specific, then we have to define that is text indent. So text indent is nothing but, so first line indent, first line padding. Text indent is first line padding. So left right complete paragraph means we use padding, padding left, padding right. If you want first line from some space, then we have to use text indent. Next, line spacing, word spacing. These also similar. Suppose you see the space between the lines in paragraph or div anywhere, you can just use line spacing. Line spacing. Sorry, this is line height, not spacing. Line height. Okay. Line height, it sets line spacing. Actually, line spacing is a class we use in Bootstrap. So in CSS attribute, it is called as line height. Line height. So line height, that means it sets the line spacing. So line height means, suppose I define line height as 30 pixel. That means it will set the space between the lines. There will be some space between lines. So suppose this is 60 pixel, then it will set more space between the lines. Space between lines. We can set space between words. We can set space between words. That means we can simply give as a word spacing. Word spacing, suppose that is some 30 pixel. That means some space between the words. For any headings, for any paragraphs, if you want, you can give space between the words. Another option, if you want space between letters, then you can use letter spacing. Letter spacing, you can just set it to some 20 pixel, then space between the letters will be there. So space between lines, space between words, and space between characters, that you can simply apply by using this. Their name itself tell, sets a spacing between words. So that is word spacing. Another option is there. Another option is letter spacing. Letter spacing also you can write here 15 letter spacing. So it sets space between characters. Space between characters. Font size we already know, sets size for characters. It sets size for characters. Now, white space, text overflow, and the text direction. This is very important. We have to use combination. If we don't use correct combination, they will not work. Already I told you, several CSS effects require good combination. If combination is not correct, then those effects will not work. Some effects individually don't work. So some effects individually, they will not work. They need a correct combination. For white space is used for, it defines wrapping of text. Overflow, it controls the text that overflow. White space, text overflow. And remember, we learned one more option. We learned overflow, general overflow. That overflow is hidden, overflow is scroll, like options we have learned. Text overflow and overflow, both combinations we have to use. How to use that combination? Let's see. For example, so here, this is the paragraph. I will remove these spacings and all for the paragraph. This is general paragraph. Now, usually what happens is, for this paragraph, border as 2 pixel solid black and padding as some 5 pixel and the text align so as justify we given that. That's the option. And text align also we learned now. Here one more effect, that's also we learned. What is it? Text align. We already learned. What is that? Aligns left, center, right, or justify. Left, center, right, or justify. So we don't need to much discuss, because already we were using from so many days all these options. Only what extra that we will see now. So here, what is the concept of text overflow? See, I will keep now the width of paragraph width as 300 pixel. Okay, width 300 pixel. And I will give height as some 250 pixel. Height 250 pixel or 200 pixel. Okay. Now you can see here, extra content is overflowing. You know how to hide that content. How to hide the content inside the paragraph. Extra content. Extra content we want to hide, not scroll. We want to hide. Then we will give, see, there is an option called text overflow. Text overflow will not work actually. Text overflow will not work. First, what you have to do is, you have to write overflow as hidden. Overflow hidden means extra content will be hidden. Extra content will be hidden. And see, generally, text wraps to next line. Text is coming to next line. Sometimes what we do is, if we don't want next line, suppose height I given as some 80 pixels only, like this, or suppose 40 pixels only, that means like this only. Now extra text, what we want to do here is, we will give white space. We will give white space as no wrap. No wrap means it will not come to next line. Extra space will not come to next line. When it will not come to next line, you can see it will go like this. Means it will not come to next line. Lot of information is present. Then we have an habit of doing one more work here. What we do is, we will give text overflow as eclipse. If I give text overflow eclipse, then it will display like that. That means at the end you will see dot dot dot, which indicates that some more content is there. Usually what we do, we will put a title. I told you title na, when mouse pointer is over, it will display description for that. Or sometimes what we do, below we will put a link saying that more. When user clicks on that more, that detailed information will come. So that, and remember, this needs correct combination. Suppose I am not using eclipse I given. Eclipse means these 3 dots will come. I am not using white space. I am not using white space. White space, then it will not work. If I am not using white space, it will not work. Suppose I am using white space, now it is working. If I don't use overflow, again this will not work. Text overflow is different, overflow is different. Overflow means it will control the paragraph outside the border. Text overflow means it will control the text inside the paragraph, text inside the paragraph, whether to show entire text or whether to show only text that is suitable for width, and rest of text how to show, hide it or put it with an ellipse. So we need a combination correctly. We have to write hidden. That means overflow is mandatory and white space is mandatory and text overflow is mandatory. If I don't give any of these three combination correctly, then it will not work. We have to use the combination of all the three in a correct way. Then we can achieve this option. So for that, we need to handle these options. These options. What is that? We have to define another here syntax. So in the syntax, we have to configure. This is for text overflow. For text overflow, syntax will be like this. We have a paragraph. In the paragraph, we are defining some border, 2 pixel, solid, black. And for paragraph, we are defining width and height, and we are defining white space. White space, no wrap. Overflow, overflow hidden. Text overflow, ellipse, ellipse. Text overflow, ellipse. That is one option. So we need combination of all the three correctly used. You given text overflow, but not the actual overflow, it will not work. You given overflow both options, but white space you haven't mentioned, it will not work. We have to define this white space. So these are the options we are having. Text overflow, white space. White space, how we can control those options. Another option is we also have one more option we are having, word break. Word break. It controls the display of lengthy words in paragraph. It controls the list display of lengthy words in paragraph. Generally, in lengthy words in a paragraph are controlled by using this word break. What is that? I will show you one example. We will see how word break works. For example, now I am giving this padding and all. Let's remove that. And this is the paragraph. Generally, to give right side margin correctly, suppose I give width as 400 pixels. That is the width. And what happens is, in this, suppose somewhere after this, yeah, here we have a lengthy word. Some lengthy word is there. Some lengthy word is there without breaks. Some lengthy word is there. Usually what happens is that lengthy word comes in the next line. In the next line. Suppose I am giving width as 450 pixels. Now you can see here the space will be there. Suppose I given as 480 pixels and you see some more space is there. Because that word will not fit right side. So then automatically comes to next line. Then how to display right margin correctly? Now if I use text align justify, it will be uneven. So not uneven between words. What will happen is if I give justify, there will be space between the words. And to fit the right side space, it will give more space between words. It will give more space between words. That means you see text align, what we have to do, justify. Then you will see the space between words will be more. So sometimes it will be more, then it will be uneven. It will not look good because of more space between words in the paragraph. So we don't want like this now. Then how you can control? Right side is uneven. Right side is uneven. And words are not fitting into it. Then what we do is we have an option as word break. Word break. We can use word break. But unfortunately, this word break will not work on every browser. Some browsers don't recognize. Then we will discuss how to handle them for various browsers. That is very important. See, I given as break all. Word break is given as break all. Now you can see the word breaks there. That means this lengthy word that comes here, after that it will continue to the next line. It will continue to next line. All lengthy words, see manufactured half, then it will continue to the next line. Next line. The lengthy words will come to the next line. Actually, if such happening, so right side what we do, we will put a hyphen because word is breaking. We put a hyphen and then we'll continue. Such options are not available. We have to manually design it using some additional effects. Directly it is not available. Already we learned selectors like before, after. You have to use such type of combination to put such hyphens at the end. For that, we need a pattern to learn. I will tell you that in the next level, how we can design such pattern. As of now, we can put the space between the words using justify, or better, you break the words. Break the words. For that, we have to use word break. Word break. So technically, syntactically, word break, how it works. Word break, we have to just use this option. So we need to add these options. For paragraph, we are giving border, padding, width, and the word break we define as break all. For lengthy words in a paragraph, we have to control them. That is how we can define the word break. Now, what is problem in this is, I already told you some effects we cannot try on every browser these days because some effects are not suitable for other browsers. So in CSS, this is very important. So a note is CSS attributes have browser dependency issues. CSS attributes have browser dependency issues. Few attributes are not available. Few attributes are not available for various browsers. Hence, we have to use plugins suitable for browser engine. Plugins suitable for browser engine. If you remembered HTML, in HTML beginning, first session, when we started learning HTML, we learned about the order how the process happens. Like first bytes, from bytes to characters, characters to tokens, tokens to tokens means tags, tokens to nodes, nodes to layout, from layout painting. Painting is the last stage of displaying. Remember all those options, right? Don't clean up your brain after HTML, forget HTML. Because whatever you learned are very, very important to carry forward in JavaScript and all. You cannot do anything properly if you don't remember what HTML you have learned. Because in future you have to work with a lot of JavaScript and all. Their HTML manipulations will happen. So you need to be very perfect and remember everything of HTML. Not only here, in advanced technologies also. Now, if you move forward to like Java, .NET or PHP, Python, there also what HTML you have learned, that is very important to remember and use. So you should remember those points. And if you remember, I told you some browser engines. So we have browser engine like WebKit. WebKit is a browser engine. This browser engine is suitable for, it is used by browsers like Edge can recognize, Chrome can recognize, and Safari can recognize. Recently, Opera can recognize. That is, WebKit is a engine, browser engine. So when you are writing CSS, if browser engine is not recognizing, you have to tell that name. You have to tell that name. That means when you are using, I will show you one more also. Actually, several more engines are there. We have an engine called Gecko. So Gecko is an engine. This engine is used by Firefox browser. Mozilla Firefox uses an engine called Gecko. But in CSS, to represent Gecko, we use MOZ. This is MOZ is for Firefox. It is for Firefox. And MS is an engine. This is for Internet Explorer. For Internet Explorer, we use MS. Actually, earlier, Opera also having a special one called O. This is for Opera. But these days, latest WebKit supports Opera also. That is the reason now in latest, we are using WebKit for Opera also. That means, if you are writing CSS, see, you have to write like this. So actual attribute is word break. Word break is defined as break all, but it is not recognized on some browsers. Then as a developer, we have to write the same like this. WebKit word break. Word break. Like this, we have to write. Value is same, break all. And we have to write MOZ word break. Word break. Right. MOZ word break. So this is for break all. So break all. This is for whom? This is for Mozilla Firefox. That is for Firefox. We have to write MS word break. Word break. And we have to define as break all. That means as a developer, you have to write all these. That means one option you have to write 4 times. And remember, all these 4 are doing same work. Then why to write 4 times? Because we don't know which browser user will use. If we are not sure about which browser user will use, at least you have to tell the user that please use this browser. Generally, you see Google people do. When you're trying to, not only Google, when you're trying to watch Gmail on some Internet Explorer or Edge-like browser, then immediately one alert comes. In the alert, they say that better use Chrome. Use Chrome for Gmail. Switch to Chrome. Do you want to switch to Chrome or you want to continue? It will ask that option. Why they ask to switch to Chrome? They are not promoting themselves. They are saying that our Gmail is best functional on Chrome browser. If you don't use Chrome browser, some options may not work properly. Then we are not responsible for that. That is general. That is very general. You see banking websites. When you open and work with banking websites, at the bottom of banking websites, you will see a warning saying that this site can work only on Internet Explorer 10 plus versions, or it is not suitable for this browser. All such warnings are important because when you write CSS, they may not work for every browser because CSS gives some additional effects and some browsers don't recognize. That is the reason this word break like option is similar to that. You can write like this: WebKit, WebKit, and word break. We have to define like this: WebKit word break. And we need to configure that option. If you are writing for Mozilla, that means we have to use MOZ word break. Like this, we have to define and keep as break all. Break all. Suppose you are writing for General Opera, earlier, old version, we have ODAT option. Actually, this is very important even for animations. In the next step, we are learning animations. There, this is mandatory. Why? Because CSS animations are not same understandable to every browser. That's the reason these we have to use regularly. So technically, how we can write for various browsers? We have to use WebKit. We have to use Mozilla. We have to use MS. These are what plugins. These are the plugins used for various browsers. While working with CSS attributes, you need to handle them. Next, one more option is there. One more option is text direction. Text direction. Text direction. I already told you that text direction we are not using these days anymore. Why? Because we are controlling that by using 2D and 3D. So you need to just understand only one point. So this is absolute. I will show you that with 2D and 3D. So actually, so better use text orientation. Text orientation. So instead of text direction, use text orientation instead of text direction, because old CSS, very old, we use text direction. But now they recommend that don't use text direction anymore. Better go with text orientation. Actually, even today, some websites still using the text directions, but not suitable for modern browsers. That means actually we can define text orientation. Text orientation we can define, suppose I defined as upright. Upright is the text orientation. Then text orientation, you see here nothing is there. Why? Because we are giving word break and all these options. Suppose I will remove that. I will remove all these options. Just I will keep border as 2 pixel solid black. And I given some upright like this. There is no difference. So even I given height. Suppose I will give only one sentence. Suppose welcome, welcome. And you can see that is normal. You have upright. Suppose we have option like sideways. Sideways, it will display nothing. Even I defined here height. Height as suppose 400 pixels. Now you can see nothing is turning. Actually, what you can do, we can rotate left, rotate right. For that, you need one more option to define. So here you have to use, along with CSS 2D and 3D effects. Then it will be better. Combination, you need 2D and 3D because we have to rotate 60 degrees, 90 degrees. We need to rotate and display. So along with CSS 2D, 3D, we can use them. I will show you that how to handle the text orientation. For that, we need to know some more options like 2D and 3D. How to use 2D and 3D effects we need to understand. And one more option is there. Already we know. What is it? Text decoration. Text decoration we know. Na? What are the text decoration? It controls underline, overline, line through. It will control those options. It controls underline, overline, line through. Text decoration. And here some more options are there. Text decoration options are nothing but text decoration. Generally we can control, that is shorthand way. We have text decoration styles, line styles, width, and other options are there. For example, see, for this paragraph, when we are displaying the paragraph, we are giving font size as suppose 40 pixels. Then text size will increase. Now I am giving text decoration. Text decoration we can give underline. Underline, it will give underline. So that is general. But in this, several other options are there. So the other options are nothing but we have text decoration. Text decoration color. Text decoration color, we can give color. It will give red. That means that color we can give in a different. It have a separate style. That means we have text decoration style. Text decoration style I give wavy. Then you can see it will be like this. So text decoration color separate, text decoration style separate. Text decoration is actually shorthand. It is shorthand. So here another example for this is text decoration. So text decoration, this is shorthand. Text decoration style. Text decoration style. Text decoration style. And this is nothing but line style. Line style like dotted, wavy. So like dashed, all these solid, groove, all these we can give. We can use text decoration, color. So color for underline, line through, overline. For that we can give. We have text decoration line. Text decoration line is nothing but underline, line through, overline. Like this we can give. All you can define with only one option. What is that shorthand way? The shorthand way is text decoration. The shorthand is text decoration. That is text decoration style, text decoration color, and a text decoration line. Right. These are all text formatting related options, how we can control and define. So many options are there in text formatting. These are all text format. How we can format the text and how to display the text. Already I told you, if I want to apply effect only for first character, then which attribute we use? We don't have attribute for that. For that we have to use selector. We have a selector called first line, first character, right? That means you need to remember this point. Everything is not available with attributes. That means for every effect, attribute will not be the concept. Some are applied through attributes. Some you have to use selectors. Where to apply, that depends on selector. How to display, that depends on attributes. Where to apply is selector, and how to display is attributes. These are all attribute related options for text effects. Now, after understanding the text effects, now we have another CSS 2D transforms. How we can control CSS 2D, CSS 3D, CSS animations. CSS 2D is nothing but two-dimensional effects. Two-dimensional effects. Two-dimensional effects. That means along x-axis and y-axis, along x-axis and y-axis. Right. So two-dimensional effects along x-axis and y-axis. And generally, these 2D effects, so they are used to control width. They are used to control width, height, orientation, control width, height, orientation, etc. Width, height, orientation, etc. That is two-dimensional. And 2D transforms are defined by using transform attribute. Transform attribute. And 2D effects are, we have scale, we have skew, we have rotate. Scale, skew, rotate, and matrix. These are major. Matrix. In that, again, several will be there, like scale X, scale Y, skew X, skew Y, rotate X, rotate Y, like these options will be there. I will show you that. First one is scale. Scale. It is used to control the size. It is used to control the size dynamically. Size means height and width. We can define that dynamically. It uses three options will be there. Scale X. Scale X. This is width. Scale Y. This is height. And the scale. This is both X and Y. Scale X, scale Y, and both. So that is scale related option. So how we can display that, how we can handle that, let's see. Dynamically, how we can control. See, for that combination is important. Suppose I will take a simple div and class as container. In that another div, we have an image source, assets, shirt, JPG. And suppose here I am keeping the class container display as flex. So justify content center, align items center, and the height as some 400 pixels. So we have that image here available. Now I will define image. Initial width is 100 pixel, height as 100 pixel. So that is the height and width of image. Now what happens here is we are writing the option image hover. That means when mouse pointer is over. Now we can apply 2D effect. We can use transform. Transform, first important option, scale. Scale indicates width and height. So this is defined in points. 1 is equal to 100%. 2 is equal to 200%. Suppose I defined scale 2. That means when mouse is over, it will change the size to 2%. I am changing it to 3, then it will change it to 300%. And already we learned actually scale is changing the size. Now to transform, this transform is not supported on all browsers again. Then we have to write like this. So we have to put WebKit as WebKit transform. What is the option? Scale. WebKit transform scale is 3. Similarly, Mozilla transform is scale is 3. Similarly, MS transform scale is 3, like this. Now sometimes people ask, like, for different browser can I put different size? You can. Suppose for Internet Explorer size different, for Mozilla separate size, it will work. You have to test on various browsers. But remember, all these three are doing the same work. But developer have no choice. While learning every day, you don't practice this. You use only one option. But in real time, when you are finally writing the effects, for every one effect, 4 times you have to write. That means you have to write the original attribute, you have to write for WebKit, you have to write for Mozilla and for Internet Explorer. If you miss anyone, for that person, it will not work properly. Mandatory. As a web developer, you should remember that 4 times we need to write. Now, very recent CSS is coming. CSS Next, they are introducing as CSS Next. I will give you an overview of that at the end. Very latest, not yet finally released. It is coming. In that, majority of these compatibility issues are solved. And they have some advanced features, which I already told you, which even eliminate the use of JavaScript. That means 80% of JavaScript is not used now. It is controlled with CSS on. Such effects they are introducing. In Bootstrap, already they done that. Eliminating of JavaScript is done very much. Now we will see both options. At the end, I will explain, because it is not final release. It is just undergoing trials. So, but you should know what is the future of CSS. For that, I will give you some additional advanced effects, how they work. So as of now, you don't need to write all this. Even you write doesn't matter. So one more option is to change from actual to this size. It is taking 1 second only. Then we use another option, transition. Transition I given as 2 seconds. Transition is used with combination of transform. Transition indicates how much time it should take to change. How much time it should change, right? Then you can see when I move the mouse onto it, it will take 2 seconds. Then it will be slow. But when I move the mouse pointer outside, again it will be immediate. So for that, what we do, initial state also, transition, we will set it. We will set it to 2 seconds again. Then you can see, you can give different effects, different timing. You see, this is transition. When I move the mouse onto it, it will be size increased, and again it will be normal. We can control the size. We can control the size by using scale. We can write like this. I will remove all this temporarily. Okay. We can write like this, scale X. If I write scale X, then you can see it will affect only width. It will affect only width. If I given scale Y, then it is going to affect only height. Only height. And if I give scale, then it is going to affect both width and height. Width and height. That is general, very general option how you can define the scale. So examples I will post in the classroom, right? These examples. So no need to just know about them. Another important, we have rotate. So simple option. It is used to rotate by specified angle. It is used to rotate by specified angle. Here also same options are there. Rotate X. We have rotate Y, and we have rotate. And for that you have to define angle. So suppose 45, that is nothing but 45 degree clockwise. Minus 45, if I give, it will be, so minus 45 degree clockwise, counterclockwise. Minus 45 degree means 45 degree counterclockwise. That is better. Huh? It is 45 degree only. It will be counter clockwise. That means opposite direction it will be. Rotate X, rotate Y, and rotate. These are the options for rotating. So that means very simple now. Suppose I defined this is the actual height. Suppose actual height is 300, 300, 300, 300. And for transform, I am using the option as rotate. Rotate, suppose some 60 degree. 60 will be rotate 60 degree. It will be rotating 60 degree. So DEG, degrees we have to give DEG. Then it will be rotating 60 degree. So that means it will be rotating by that specific angle. Suppose I am giving minus 60 degree. That means it will be counterclockwise. It will be counterclockwise. And if I am defining like 360 degree, then it will be rotating in this way. It will be rotating in this way. We can rotate by specified angle. We can rotate by specified angle. So that means you can define rotate X, suppose. That means only X direction it will rotate. That means only this direction it will rotate. That is rotate X. We can keep rotate Y. Rotate Y. Rotate Y means it will be horizontal. It will be rotating horizontal and displaying. We can rotate in any direction. So we can define X, rotate Y, and rotate X. These are simple options. Another option we have, so skew. Skew is nothing but it is used to tilt image, tilt element by specified angle. That is also same, skew X, skew Y, and skew. Tilt by specified angle. Tilts the image by specified angle. We also have translate. Translate. It is used to move the element along X and Y axis. It is also having translate X, translate X, translate Y, translate Y, and translate. These are translate X, Y, and first we are learning these effects. After learning these effects, we will try to design one good animation with that. That means we will take one sample example and we will try to design that example with transitions. Like advertisements, banners, how people design by using these animations, we will see that. Now, translate is to move and skew is for tilting the image. Tilting is nothing but, suppose we are defining like this. Instead of rotate, I will give skew, skew, skew. And skew by how many degree? So we will give skew by how many degree? Suppose say 30 degrees. Skew is nothing but tilting actually. So you see it will tilt like this. Tilting by specified degree. You can give negative also. Or you say skew X. Skew X, it will be like this, X axis. If I say skew Y, that means along Y axis it will tilt like this. So skew is nothing but tilting the image. We can tilt the image by using skew. And the translate is same. For example, I will remove this container. Okay. And only image is there. We don't have a container, only image 100, 100. Okay, and here I am giving the option translate. Translate X. X suppose 500 pixel. Translate is nothing but moving. When I move mouse onto it, it will go to that position. And again, it will come back to that position. Translate is moving from that particular position. And it will be normal. Again, we have translate X, translate Y. Y means it will be downward. It will be moving down. Right? And again, we have translate. Translate means it will be both x-axis and y. Translate, it will be both. But here we have to define translate 500 pixels, one, or and another option is translate some 400 pixels like this. It will go in both directions and display. Depends on how you define the option. But remember, these are only 2 dimensions. We have a third dimension. We call them as 3D. Now, one more problem is there. Many times people ask like, I want rotate and zoom. Is it possible? It's not possible. It's not possible to give both effects. Then how to give both effects? For that, we should use an option called matrix. By using matrix, we can give. For example, suppose I given here as translate. So translate 500 pixels. I am writing another transform. So transition, transform. I am giving as rotate. Rotate as suppose 180 degree. 180 degree rotating, and we are changing the position. And you can see we are giving both options here. And you can see only rotate is working. Now translate is not working. That means only one option is working. Suppose I give transform scale as 3. That means size should adjust. Only size is adjusting, but rotate not working. That means only one is working. But I want to zoom and rotate both. In that case, combination of effects are given by using matrix. We have another option called matrix. But for this matrix, we need to learn the order, how to write the matrix order combination. That we will see in our next session. Tomorrow we will do that. Okay. In tomorrow's session, we will see how to handle the matrix and 3D effects. With that, we can try some examples. We can see some examples how animations are done in CSS. Right? Yeah. Tomorrow we'll continue.